Hey, what's up? So this is about protections from black magic, negative occult, dark occult, spell casting, supernatural attacks, energy vampires, psychic vampires, etc. So this list is going to break down a series of protections. You can try all of them and you will get great results from these, or at least a minimal of a huge improvement. So this will work against psychic attacks, negative demonic interference, etc. and more. The first step is the person that you met who was diabolical or extremely dark or into black magic, occult, anything like that. You have to go back to getting focused on your goals the exact same way that you were before you met this person. So whatever your goals were, no matter how big or small, you have to put yourself in day one thinking of what you were doing and how you were doing it right before you met that person. That's going to be extremely important because the goal of a lot of these people is to destroy your innocence and your pure human imagination. So especially if you are empathic, you may have gone into a place of imagination to heal yourself or to comfort yourself, where you would do things like create art and create stories and things like that. That pure imagination for you is still there and is still active. This is what they wish to destroy. That pure imagination is what you're going to use to manifest and what you're going to use to create going forward. So it's really important to keep the pure-hearted, pure human imagination. So the first step is to go back to the goals, no matter how big or small, that you were working on prior to meeting that person. If you wanted to go to fashion school to be a fashion designer, if you wanted to go to hair school, if you wanted to do paintings and drawings and have them in art galleries, if you wanted to be an engineer, no matter how grand the idea may seem, even if it's getting a PhD or a law degree and you only have a high school diploma, whatever that dream and goal is, it's going back to that original goal and maintaining that pure-hearted human imagination. That's going to be huge. That in itself is a protection because you're putting yourself back on frequency and back in alignment from where you were when you first met that person. Number 2, clean like crazy. Take a whole weekend, a whole holiday, a vacation, a week, and clean everything that you possibly can. If you have a storage space, that's amazing. Send things to Goodwill. Take out lots of trash, go through, clean out every nook and cranny, organize your file cabinet, label things, get everything really, really clean and have fun with it. But also, when you do this, there are special cleaning products that you can use that help to repel dark and negative energy. So one of them is, this is kind of a famous one, old school. It's called Crayolan. You can find it anywhere, I guess. There's a few different variations of it. That's been used for decades for spiritual protection specifically. Also, you can use white vinegar. If you don't have anything else available, bleach. There's something about those smells that actually change the frequency and it repels certain negative energy. So the best place to use them is on walls, on floors, etc. Also, vacuum really good, get out carpet powder. Make sure that everything has a renewed sense of smell. And I also highly recommend that you get your favorite fragrances, whether it be candles, incense, a variety of fragrances to change the aroma in your home. This by itself, the cleaning, the new smells, the aromas, are going to help change the energy from within your home, for your home or your space. That's going to be super helpful, and just do the best that you can with that. But also moving furniture too if you can. Changing your curtains, changing things that maybe hold certain frequencies, hold certain energy. So doing things like moving your couches around, moving your chairs around, etc., moving where your bed is at, it helps to disrupt and move and shift and change the energies within your home. So this will also be something that can be really helpful. So just spending a weekend, a week doing this alone and going in on it hard as if it's the most important thing in the world will instantly start changing the whole vibe. So that part's really important. Step 3. This is one of the biggest ones. in my experience that I've witnessed, and again, there's a lot of folklore around this as well, and spiritual practices built around this. Get to a new body of water. And what I mean by a new body of water, so if you live in, let's say, the Southeast, let's say you live in Florida, try to get over to the West Coast. If you're on the West Coast, try to get over to Hawaii or to the Southeast, but get into a different body of water. If you don't have the ability to travel that far out, try driving out to a river or a lake or an ocean that is not in your area. There's something about hitting the water and it disrupting the electromagnetic field. So after you've dealt with a person who is an energy vampire, psychic vampire, malevolent personality, by getting into the water, it helps to reset your electromagnetic field. It helps to recharge you. It helps to reinvigorate you. And there's something very healing about that alone. It's really interesting. Now, of course, with water, you have waves, you have currents, you have electromagnetic energy that's traveling. So it kind of makes sense by putting your feet in the sand, putting your feet in the water, something about that absorbs through and it actually can reactivate you and make you feel reinvigorated. Normally, I notice it'll take a couple of days to feel the effects really strong, but you'll start to feel like new life was breathed into you. So, for example, I had this happen long time ago, and the spiritual attacks and supernatural attacks were insane. I mean, we're talking about crazy amounts of poltergeists, completely lethargic, no energy to do anything at all, extremely depressed. I could go into depth, but I was at a point where it was so extreme that I just didn't do anything at all. Completely, talk about depleted, 100% depleted. And there were no health issues or anything like that. I got the opportunity to go to Hawaii and got into the water, just my feet in the water, and that's it. And something about that, when I came back, I felt like new life had been breathed into me. I felt like a whole new person. I felt transformed, energized, and it stayed that way. And I was like, what was up with that? And I didn't have like a fun vacation or anything like that. I was only there for maybe like a day. And when I started looking into it, it turns out there were actually a lot of spiritual practices that have talked about something about traveling over a body of water or getting into certain waters can be very healing. So definitely try to access a new body of water, a different body of water. And I also find that just after you've been around a psychic vampire or energetic vampire, just getting to an ocean if you can, or a lake, and putting your feet in the water, in the sand or in the dirt near the water. Something about that is very therapeutic, grounding, and healing. So definitely try that one, especially if you feel extremely depleted or drained or you don't feel good at all. Number 4, particularly if you were in a relationship with someone who was into the dark occult, energy vampire, psychic vampire, remove all text messages, all pictures from your phone, all reminders of them. And if you need to, you can always take pictures of it or take those pictures, put it in a keepsake box and remove it out of your home. And especially with any of the items that they've given you, when you take that trip to the water, it's best to take any items that they've given you and put any crystals or jewelry or anything that they've given you into the water, because it resets that electromagnetic field. It resets the energies that are attached to it. You can put the items in the sun and let the heat kind of burn off the negative energies, but the most important thing is to remove it from your home, because it is very true that with talismans, certain jewelry, certain objects that they give you, it has energy attached to it that can potentially have a really negative, dark influence. I'll give you a good example. I remember I met a black magician occultist probably about 15 years ago. One of the things he gave me on our very first date, for whatever reason they like to give this stuff on the first date, is he gave me a necklace that had all of this Masonic imagery on it, really old necklace, and he claimed that his mother gave it to him before she passed away, and he wanted me to have it, and he wanted me to have this so I'd always remember him, and all this different stuff. I thought, oh, okay, that's very romantic, it's very sweet, he used to always wear it. Okay. And years later, I would feel this really dark energy and I couldn't describe it. I chose to meditate and I wanted to sense, where is this dark energy coming from? It felt like it was coming from a particular part of the room. And I'm like, okay, let me go look. And I looked in the jewelry box and I saw this necklace that I forgot I even had. And the energy behind the necklace was so dark and was so negative. I went through and I threw it away. And when I did that, instantly I started to feel better. Instantly things got lighter. And I'm like, whoa, what was this guy doing? And the guy passed on shortly after that. So, you know, these objects, be careful with any objects that someone that you know is in the dark occult gives you, because that's one of the things that they do to do spell work and to pass certain energy and to do certain weird stuff. Number 5, awareness is key. They will always, always, always try to update their tactics for whatever reason. They're always going to try to be shysters, be conniving, be manipulative. That's just what they do. So because we know this, I'm going to tell you a few pitfalls that these people will try to use in order to lure you back into a trap with them. So especially as you are not dealing with these people, they will try to up their tactics and up the ante in order to try to bring you back in. So be aware of any of these 4 things. So number 1, the idea of soul contracts or soul agreements. Now, there's some truth and there's some validity to that, but when they try to make themselves out to be benign or innocent, like, oh, you know, we signed up for this before we came here. We both agreed that we would do this so our souls could learn. Don't make any excuses for them. You know what they did was wrong, was evil, was wicked, and was dark. Don't allow them to have an excuse or a free pass or, oh, well, you know, it was all for the greater good. So if they had had it their way, you would have never healed. If they had had it their way, you would have never gotten to a point to where you feel good about yourself and to where you're moving on from them. Unfortunately, that is what wickedness does. Some of these black magicians, if a person falls into a deep, dark depression or ends up on substances, they revel in it. They enjoy it. They laugh about it. They smile about it. So the idea that, oh, well, you know, we were just in this together and they were just trying to help me with my growth at the end of the day, that's not the way that they see it. That is one way to look at it, but that's not the way that they see it. So that's step number 1. Number 2, this is one of the most diabolical pitfalls that they try to tell people sometimes, is that it was all just about healing work and trauma removal. So that person came into your life to help you remove trauma, or that person came into your life to help you heal. Again, if they had had it their way, you would have never recovered. It wasn't about helping you to remove trauma. You were able to do that because you healed, because you got to the next level. You don't need to be traumatized and you don't need to be broken in order to be healed. You don't need to be traumatized and you don't need to be broken in order to be healed. So the idea that they came into your life to help you heal or to help you remove trauma, you didn't need them for that. As an empath, you were probably already on a path that was holistic and that was positive before meeting these people. And unfortunately, people within the dark occult will play along with the idea that they were just trying to help you heal and that they wanted you to be better, and that the reason why they were hurting you or the reason why they were doing the negative stuff was in order to help you to grow to the next level, or I believed in you and I knew that you could do better, and so I wanted to attack you or hurt you in order to help you ascend to the next level in life. They'll actually go along with you on that, and that's a extremely manipulative tactic. It's also a form of gaslighting, but at the end of the day, people that are diabolical, they will say and do whatever in order to come out on top or in order to be successful with their goal. And their goal is to pull you back into a connection with them or into the type of mentality or mindset that they want you to be in, which has to do with feeling down about yourself. The other one that some have fallen under, sadly, is the twin flame idea. Beware of them trying to convince you that you guys are twin flames and that they just needed to heal and they needed to work on certain things, and they didn't mean to treat you like that. They've never encountered someone so positive, or they've never encountered someone so loving and so kind to them before. As a result, they did all these negative things because they were scared and they needed to. People that are negative and that are dark towards you, unfortunately, they are going to continue to repeat that again and again and again for years and years and decades, however long it takes. Like a leopard doesn't change its spots or something like that. That's how it is. They continuously, if you re-engage with them, are going to repeat the same thing again and again and again. They're just going to do it in a different way, a more creative way, and for them, they would hope a more hurtful way the next time. The fourth thing to be aware of is the re-victimization technique, which is the idea that you either manifested them or that you needed them in order to learn. This kind of ties into what I was saying about the healing work. Basically, the idea that, well, you brought them into your life, or you manifested them, or you needed them at that time because you needed to learn this from them, you needed to learn that from them. You didn't need to learn anything from them. In fact, I'll bet you were on the right track prior to meeting them, and if anything, all they did was cause more confusion, more self-doubt, distractions, discomfort, maybe sadness, embarrassment, shame, etc. They weren't people that you needed in your life. But unfortunately, for dark occultists, narcissists, etc., they will try to insinuate that somehow they were good for you, that they're a part of your success or they're a part of your growth, in the sense that if they weren't there, well, look at you now. It's kind of like the bullies that bully a small child in high school. Then when the child ends up overcoming the self-doubt, the criticism, etc., and becomes very successful in what they want to do, then they're like, oh, aren't you glad we bullied you because you wouldn't be where you're at today? That's not how it works. That person, had they had stayed focused on their goals and what they love, they would have been successful either way. The bully and the abuse, again, you don't need to be broken or traumatized or damaged in order to be successful. That's a myth. And it's a very demonic, dark myth, actually. Number 6, chakra meditations. So there are a few chakra meditations that are good. But one of the things that you can do is focus on doing breathing work and focusing on light going into your 7 chakra centers. And focus on each of those areas until you feel at peace in those individual areas, or until it feels balanced or relaxed. You may uncover a lot of interesting things while doing this meditation, but this really helps to reset your energy centers to a place to where you feel more balanced, you feel more whole, you feel more at ease in those different energy centers. So it makes it really easy for you to recognize certain negative attacks, psychic attacks, diabolical attacks, and be able to know what they're attacking, or to be able to be more aware of what's going on. Breathing exercises are also important in this, and saying no to intrusive thoughts. So let me give an example. Let's say all of a sudden you notice that you feel a lot of negative intrusive thoughts, and you feel like it's a form of dark magic or something like that that's being used. Because you are in alignment and balanced with your chakra system and your energy centers, it'll be really easy for you to identify something feels off and where it feels off. At which point, when you're feeling that intrusive thought, you simply say no to that thought. And you're like, no, I don't think that's me. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't think that. I don't feel that way about myself. Where is that coming from? And that'll help you as far as strengthening intuition as well. But we'll get to that at another point in time. Number 7, staying rooted in your faith, including Bible verses or affirmations, etc., is extremely important. I find for me, even reading just one Bible verse a day helps me to stay more balanced and grounded. But it could be something as simple as affirmations, and just saying it a few times a day helps you stay aligned with where you're supposed to be at. So that can be really helpful. Number 8, physical health. One of the biggest things that is going to help you to deflect black magic attacks, dark magic attacks, negative energy is going to be physical health. Even Manly P. Hall, who was a famous magician, Freemason, 33rd degree, etc., back in the day, he wrote a lot of books on magic, and he talked about black magic versus white magic, or dark magic versus positive magic, or whatever. He talked actually a lot about health as well, and that your physical health is one of the biggest things that will help shield you from dark magic attacks. And he's right. But it's really important to, if you haven't already, to get your minerals checked out. Get a panel at the doctor, or look and find if you are deficient in any minerals, because copper, silver, zinc, etc., these have a lot to do with your physical health. They're kind of like the building blocks for everything else to function right. If you feel extremely tired or drained or lethargic, these could be symptoms of other things. It could also still be dark magic, but what happens is the more physically weaker you are, the easier it is for the dark magic attacks to work. But if you have a higher immune system or a stronger balance with your minerals, etc., it will help you. So definitely check all your minerals. In general, clean, 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 clean. Organize, change the aromas, change the scents, move furniture around, remove the objects, practice mindfulness, breathing exercises, meditations. Make sure your physical health is as good as possible, as strong as possible. Stay focused on your original goals before you met them. Stay pure-hearted. Make sure not to fall back into their old tactics. Stay aware of new approaches and new tactics that they may try to use so you don't run back into them, because one of the things that tends to happen is you'll be doing great, let's say a few years later, and you completely have forgotten about them, and they'll come back, and they tend to come back when you forgot why you're even mad at them in the first place. Or you have memory of some of the stuff that occurred, but maybe some of it's a little fuzzy. And they will help you to forget that. They will, oh, I don't know why we stopped talking. I don't remember. Like, they'll go along with it and play along with it. But their whole goal is to get you to be pulled back in to a negative relationship with them so they can do negative things, because they focus on wickedness, they focus on being dark and malevolent, and unfortunately for these guys, they don't like losing. They don't like the fact that someone can move on from them and not worry about them. So yeah, if you've dealt with these people, these things will help you. And also there might be, of course, in addition to this, other techniques that you'll come across that you find that are really helpful for you. What I do recommend doing is avoiding getting too far into New Age or occult while you're maneuvering away from people that you know are into dark stuff, because it all kind of works together. So I would stay away from occult and stay away from a lot of the New Age stuff as you're moving away from people who you know were involved in dark occult or dark practices. I hope you have an awesome rest of the day. Check out my other videos for more information on esoteric knowledge, spirituality, sociology, and more. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like this video. I'll talk to you later. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.